This is a Besler smoke generator. He made hundreds or thousands of them for the U.S. Navy during World War II. It was designed to lay down a heavy smoke screen to make things a lot easier in battle. The enemy couldn't see the ships once you had the smoke screen laid down. And this was very cleverly based upon a high pressure, high temperature monotube boiler. Just to review, a monotube boiler is made out of coils of, in this case, stainless steel tubing that go around and around. And your monotube steam generators are both relatively cheap to make. They only have one weld at the end of each tube. It's just one long tube, so it's easy to do. You wind these with a coil winder, which spaces them. It's cheap to construct, extremely safe, lightweight, and efficient. There's nothing here to blow up and kill you. And at the worst, if you overheat one of these things, you'll get a little bubble here, and you'll get a tulip-shaped little rupture, and steam will blow all over. And but there's no shrapnel going around. So this has a monotube boiler in it. Besler had worked most of his life out in the Berkeley, Oakland, California area, working on steam cars, steam boats, steam things, so he understood how to use a monotube boiler to make high pressure steam. So here's how the smoke generator worked. Your ships were burning bunker oil, which was a very, very heavy, viscous oil, which would make a huge amount of smoke when it was heated. These things were on the back of ships. You had a Tecumseh engine, which was of value because it had two magnetos. It had one to run its own spark plug and one to run a spark plug for the burner. And you could hand start it, had a little gasoline tank somewhere. It had a V-belt drive that drove a water pump here and a fuel pump. And it had some controls. It had a big centrifugal fan here, which ran air into here, burned bunker fuel or kerosene, whatever they could find, and heated up. And the heat then, in this big combustion chamber, went down through these coils, and it made very extremely hot steam. The steam was in very high pressure, basically somewhere between 800 and 1,000 psi, and the same degrees Fahrenheit. So then, to make the smoke, you would inject this very, very hot steam into the bunker oil. The oil was not heated directly by the flame. If it had been heated directly by the flame, it would have carboned up and plugged up the tubes and would have been really very, very difficult to control, be very high maintenance. So Besler figured out that he could make very quickly, very cheaply, very efficiently this really, really hot, high pressure steam. And nobody else knew how to do that as well in a light portable unit like this. And so he took the hot steam and he ran it through a little air atomizing nozzle or steam atomizing nozzle thing, which mixed the steam and the bunker oil, and this huge, huge cloud of black smoke came out, and it was just the best way to make it ever. These things were mounted on the back of destroyers. They were all mounted at a slight angle, and they were tied on with a rope, and there was always a hatchet right there. The Navy didn't really trust these things, and they thought if any of them caught on fire and started to have a problem, The Navy people, the sailors, were instructed to get the axe, cut the rope, and the things would automatically slide off the back of the boat into the ocean and not blow up and hurt anybody. And I don't think any of them ever did blow up and hurt anybody, but that's the way it went. After the war, Besler had a lot of these because the contract for them stopped immediately. And so he stuck with them, so he sold them to people, and any number of people used them to make steam engines, because almost everything could be used. You had the blower, you had the burner, you had the coils, you had the water pump, and this was many people used these as parts of a steam engine during the early 50s, early 60s, because they were around. Fascinating use of high pressure steam. These things could be fired up to full temperature, full pressure, full everything in less than a minute. Enormously advantageous over any other source of steam, any other way of making steam and controlling it.